Hey, I'm Carlos Garcia, and today we're going into a little series I'm going to put together of like the best whiskeys of the year so far. So today we're going over some higher age statements, the 14, 15-year-old category apparently, because that's kind of what they all are. So let's just quickly go over the bottles. So we have a Jack Daniel's 14 year. This is batch 2, so this year's release. Another 14-year-old bottle, Brook Hill, 14-year-old. This has them at 141.06 proof. We have the Elijah Craig 15 that came out this year, bottle this year. This is barrel 172. And then we have a 15-year-old from Reveries. This is a store pick from Conti's in Connecticut. This is supposedly Buff Turkey. You guys know my feelings about Buff Turkey. If you don't, I think it's all BS. The proof is 124.4, and these are all some of my favorite bottles this year. And you know, you could be saying right now, where's a Wild Turkey Gold Foil? I don't have it yet. I do plan on getting, so my buddy Jerry got a bottle and he split it with me. Thank you, Jerry. You are a godsend. And I should be getting it from him this Friday for Whiskey Cigar Club. So it'll be in my Whiskey Cigar Club so all those fools can try it. But then I'll have some left over and I'll probably put it in a different video. But these are good for right here to compare against each other. And you know, I don't necessarily like to do store picks necessarily, but the Elijah Craig 15 is a single barrel as well. So it doesn't really matter too much. I guess not really. Trying to see if this Brook Hill is a single barrel or not, but it is not. It does say shakedown on the side, on the back of it. Barrel number 1x11, 1 out of 11, I don't know. Bottle number 95 out of 112. So this makes me think that this is also a single barrel. Never mind, it does say single barrel. Right around Brook Hill it says single barrel. So anyways, I did not see that part. I did think that this was a single barrel. So it is a single barrel. So we have 3 different single barrels, and then the Jack Daniel's 14 is not a single barrel. It's the batch 2. Now I kind of feel like that I should replace the Jack Daniel's 14 with another single barrel. I don't know how many single barrels I have at this age that were this good. So anyways, let's get into the, oh, actually, let's do a giveaway. All right, and this is the giveaway for the final from the 250th bottle, so all the really good ones. And the winner is Beer Bike Bourbon Run. You won recently too. Congratulations. And quickly before we get into the video, since that was the final giveaway, I don't think I ever reviewed this one. This is the Kentucky 12-year rye, and someone actually asked about this in the comments. I'm like looking in the videos to see where it was. Apparently somehow this was skipped. So I'll get this bottle reviewed shortly in the rye video. So just to let you guys know that this was another 250th bottle that I had and somehow skipped, but whatever. Let's get into the blind. All right, let's get into nose on A. I mean, that's a fantastic nose. Cherry oak, sweet, vanilla, red Jolly Rancher, rich. Everything I expect out of a higher age stated bourbon. That was fantastic nose. Really enjoyed that. These should all be good. These are supposed to be some of the best things I've had this year, so I don't expect anything to be bad. That would be more disappointment this week. But let's go to B. All right, I'm not gonna say I like B better than A, because I did not. So B was very, very different. Very sour forward, like a sour oak, literally what I wrote, like a sour oak. Slight funkiness, birthday candle, which I'm just gonna assume is just like a waxy note, but just made me think of like the candles you actually put on birthday cakes, and some butterscotch. Too much sourness for what I enjoy, but against the nose, but it's definitely, I enjoyed A's nose significantly more than B's. So let's go to C. All right, C on the nose, back to something that I enjoy a lot more than B anyways. Banana cream pie, sweet oak, vanilla, marshmallow, slight red fruit. It was 100% like a dessert in the glass. Very dessert forward with like a little bit of banana direction, where A was more oak forward, more red fruit. But still, I like both those profiles quite a bit. So let's go to D. All right, D on the nose. Oak, rich, vanilla, dark cherry, but it's not intense. It was very hard to like kind of pull those notes out of there. It seemed very concentrated and tight, almost like if I didn't do it, but if I added some water to it, it might have opened it up a little bit more. But it seemed very tight in there, very hard to pull notes, but nothing off-putting about it. And I'm sure on the palate stuff will pop up, so we'll see. And so let's go to the palate on A. All right, first sip of the day, pretty good. There was one note there that I don't know if it just fit well together, but cherry, oak, sweet, bright cherry, kind of explaining what type of cherry anyways, and chestnut. And I think the chestnut was a little bit kind of off profile. That was in a negative way, sort of. We'll see on second and third sip, but on the finish, more of the same: cherry, oak, chestnut, sweet. Overall, pretty decent, but first sip of the day, so let's go second sip. I like that finish more. Oh, man, there was just a slight astringent oak note on the palate, but that bright cherry got more of like a Red Jolly Rancher direction. So I wrote Red Jolly Rancher. The oak is a little bit astringent. Wasn't the biggest fan that time of it. The chestnut note either wasn't as strong or was just more balanced this time. But on the finish, vanilla fudge, Red Jolly Rancher, the finish I really enjoy. The palate kind of, there's always something a little bit off. Let's go with third sip. All right, again, that palate, it was better. It's a cherry bomb, bright cherry bomb, cherry oaky, very good. But there is something like kind of in the background every single time that's kind of bringing it down a little bit. Finish is good though. Can't complain too much about that one. So let's go to B, where I did not really like the nose. So hopefully it passed better. All right, B, very different than A, just like on the nose. It's oaky, it's woody, which I've explained this before, where oak is like the better wood note. Woody is kind of like slightly like a different type of wood note, but not as good. So kind of different types of wood notes. Some are better than others. But then I was getting green apple, specifically sour apple, like a sour green apple. And that was the same thing on the finish. Oak, woody, sour apple, dusty. It's not as like the sour oak note that I was getting on the nose. It's more of like a sour green apple note. But first sip coming off of A, we'll see how it is on second sip. The palate didn't get really that much better or any better. I wrote a slight astringent oak, but on the finish, dark cherry, sweet. I almost was gonna write like some type of candy. I'm sure some kind of Jolly Rancher. It was getting that direction of sweetness, which definitely wasn't there on the first sip. So the finish took like 3 steps forward. The palate, I would say, took like maybe a half step backwards, but the finish is really good. The palate though gave me that slight astringent oak. Let's go with third sip and see what happens. All right, that third sip was phenomenal. It's crazy how different each sip can get. And this happens, I want to say this happens all the time, but it definitely happened here. It became so much sweeter and just more delicious. Vanilla, sweet, a dark cherry, but it wasn't that sourness. So now if you're trying to get that sourness, I guess it kind of went in a different direction. It became so much tastier on that third sip. A little bit of nuttiness on the finish this time. Overall, that sip was phenomenal. I really enjoyed that one. I'm curious how it's going to perform when I A/B these, because the first sip and the last sip were so different. So we'll see how it what happens when I'm A/Bing. Let's go to C. Well, I think I know what this one is. Between two notes, it's kind of narrowed down for me. So banana cream pie, that'd be one of them. Sweet, desserty, raspberry drizzle. That's a new note for me, I think. Slight pepper black marker note, that would be the other one. And oak. On the finish, cherry, oak, vanilla, chloroseptic cherry note, like the chloroseptic spray for like sore throats. Yeah, it gives me that feeling too. I don't know why certain bourbons do this, or drinks, or whiskeys, whatever. But I'm gonna guess this is the Jack Daniel's 14. Between the banana note and the permanent black marker note, it's kind of like the things that indicate to me Jack Daniel's. Overall though, I really enjoy this. I'm not the biggest fan of that chloroseptic cherry note, and that only, for me anyways, pops up on the finish. And it's not one of my favorite finishing notes, but I did enjoy the palate a lot. I know I said slight permanent black marker note, but again, if it's slight enough, it's just a contributing note and not the whole thing. But overall, it's very desserty and very delicious. But I think the thing that's bringing this down is actually the finish, where the finish was kind of the better things on A and B. Let's go C second sip. Unlike A and B, C basically stayed the same. The chloroseptic cherry note on the finish was a little bit less this time, but it was still there. I actually thought it might have gone away, but it came at the very end, unfortunately. But it is slighter this time, so that is a bonus. Overall, still very good. Even slighter, even less Permanent Black Marker note on the palate this time. So overall, it was better, just the same notes. Third sip. So interesting to me. So again, the notes are the same. The bad notes are getting less and less every sip, which is what I would want. The chloroseptic note, cherry note is less. The Permanent Black Marker note is less. It's nice sweetness. There's a little bit of banana notes there. Nice oak. Overall, really good. Do enjoy that a lot. It's going to be tricky doing these because these are very different profiles. We shall see. Let's go 2D. All right, these got some proof behind it. That's for sure. So a lot of the same notes on the palate and finish. Oak, dark, very dark profile. Not in like the Detling direction, but just darker overall, especially versus these other three. So again, all four are very different profiles. Oak, dark, leather, drying on the tongue. Proof builds, it starts kicking your butt. Dark cherry. On the finish, dark fruit. Oak, dark, leather, drying, dark cherry. So a lot of the same notes on palate and finish. Overall, very good. It's very like rich, intense in like the dark atmosphere. There's not a lot of sweetness to kind of balance it though. I'm hoping on the second, third sip, there's a little bit more sweetness there because it's more like kind of one direction. So let's go second sip. More of the same, nothing new. And I was trying to look for like a sweet note. There might be, it's not that it's not sweet at all. There is a little bit of sweetness there. Very hard, or I'm trying very hard not to write vanilla here because I don't feel like it's that type of sweetness, but there's a little bit of sweetness. Maybe I could figure out on the third sip, but nothing new on the second sip. So let's go to the third sip. All right, only thing new I wrote this time was a very slight cinnamon on the very finish, but overall very similar to the first sip. It's just, I don't want it to come off that it's not good. It is probably my favorite pour up here. I've scored it my highest so far. I really enjoy that, but it's definitely a profile preference. But it just seems so rich, so bold in that oak dark realm. It has a little bit of balance with the dark cherry note, but again, it's more of that kind of like one area. Again, there is sweetness there, so I'm not gonna say it's not sweet. There's less drying on the tongue the more you drink it, and less proof forward as like the first sip. I think you should get used to it. So I think that's why I like the third sip so much. Let's take a break here, drink some water, compare all of these, and see what happens when I come back. So I'll be right back. All right, that was a lot of fun. So I went back and forth a lot and to try to figure out some different stuff here. Most of the scores actually went up. Only one kind of stayed the same, but they were a lot of the negative or slightly bad notes kind of in the first sips weren't there anymore. So I was kind of comparing them how they were at that time. So a lot of the scores went up. Before we get into it, let's do the giveaway. We're gonna do 1 ounce samples of all of these because these are super expensive. So sorry, I'm sure someone's out there gonna cry about it, but it is what it is. So we'll do a 1 ounce sample of all 4 of these. Plus a lot of these are gonna be in my Whiskey of the Year tournament anyway, so you get more opportunities that way. To enter, let's do, you gotta like the video, subscribe to the channel, and comment with AGE26. AGE26, all one word, one acronym. All right, so I was going back and forth, and the one new note I did get was Watermelon Jolly Rancher on B, so obviously that helped it a little bit. It's weird how B was like the funky thing, and that's the wild turkey possible. Buffalo, turkey, buffalo nonsense. So let's go and see what, so last place was the Elijah Craig 15, one of the cheaper bottles up here at $150. It did well for me. I've had better single barrels than the one I have, which is unfortunate because it's the one I have. But I do have another single barrel around here somewhere. So once I get through this one, I'll get to that one. Hopefully it's better, and we'll see how that goes. But it came in last place with a score of 3.6, so not a bad score, but it was okay. I know, again, single barrel, so it is what it is. But when I was going back and forth, it definitely didn't punch up like these other ones did. So then we go into third place. So third, second, and first are all really, really good. all scored over a 4. So we went to, oh, they're gonna be in order. So Reveries 15, this Buff Turkey, possible, whatever. I don't know what I can legally say without getting in trouble. I don't know. Everyone's saying it's Buff Turkey. Whatever it is, who cares? I know that I think that this is really good. It kept getting better every single sip, and this is the one that gave me some watermelon Jolly Rancher after water. And this is why I drink the water. So if you're new, when I break, I always drink water before each sip. I take 2 sips and kind of like base it. Because when we do the blind, we go, you know, we're straight through. And when I go and after the break, I'll drink water and I'll go to like a different one. And then I'll drink 2 sips. Then I'll drink water, wait a little bit, drink another one, and stuff like that. And then I'll A/B them. But the reason I do the water is kind of like a reset my palate, just to kind of drink that one on its own. Kind of like doing a single bottle review. That's what I'm trying to do there. That's my attempt at doing that anyways. So that's when I got the watermelon Jolly Rancher note after water on B. So I scored that 4.1. So very, very good. And then it went to Jack Daniel's 14, which scored pretty well today. I don't know what scored earlier this year, but it scored a 4.2 today, and really enjoyable. Again, the thing that's been kind of killing Jack Daniel's for me lately has been the permanent black marker notes, and it's usually in blinds like this where it's not against other Jack Daniel's where it starts showing up a little bit more, but it kind of held it in check today, so it did well. So pretty good job, Jack Daniel's 14 in this lineup. And kind of going over pricing real quick before I get to the winner, $150 for the Elijah Craig. The Reveries is right up to like 300. I think it was like 280, 300, right around there. The Jack Daniel's 14 is $150, and these are all MSRP prices. And then the Brook Hill, which won, very expensive, $500, and it is my winner. I can also see how this wouldn't be some people's favorites because it's so dark forward. And if you like the sweeter bourbon, I don't know if this is in your wheelhouse, but if you like that a little bit darker, richer profile, I think this is in your wheelhouse if you want to spend that kind of money on a bourbon. A lot of you guys do not, I understand, and this is why I do the giveaways, so people can try some of these bottles. So I scored 4.35. It is one of the best things I've had this year, and you know, just this lineup right here could be in my top 5 of the year currently. So we'll see how the rest of the next videos I do in this series, I plan on doing them like every Wednesday for probably next month, and kind of just compare some of the best whiskeys I have so far. But this did really well. I really enjoy this, and it's just too expensive. Now, do I think this is worth $500? No, I do not. I don't think this is that much better than the Jack Daniel's 14, which is $150. And I don't think it's, well, I would say I do think it's significantly better than Elijah Craig 15, at least this single barrel, but we'll see. We'll see how this kind of does versus some other stuff. I've had it now a couple times, and we'll see what it does in some other blinds coming up. All right, so that's today's video. It's gonna be another late post. I'm about to go edit and post it right after I click stop. So if you've had any of these, I'm sure most of you guys have had the Elijah Craig and the Jack Daniel's, but if you've had the Brook Hill 14 or Reveries 15 Buff Turkey, definitely leave in the comments your thoughts on it, and definitely leave your comments on what your favorite bourbons of the year are so far. I know I haven't had the Heaven Hill 22, and I haven't had the Wild Turkey Gold Foil. I do plan on getting the Gold Foil this week, like in a couple days. But I haven't got the Heaven Hill 22, so I know that's in some people's top 5s, but if there's other bottles out there that you are thinking is the best of the year, definitely leave it in the comments. So don't be stupid, and if you do, don't get caught. Bye.